Hey you guys, so before I get into this, I just want to say a couple things. So first of all, I'm not going to use profanity because I know that if there are other Christians watching this, who believe that profanity is a sin, I don't really want to be a stumbling block to them right now. This is not a funny video, this is something serious. And also, I do want to say, if you are someone who's related to me and is only watching this to just get some dirt on me and humiliate me in front of my family, I think that I've already been humiliated enough, so please just get off this video unless you actually want to know the answer to this question. Alright, so this is a really embarrassing story, obviously, but I just feel that, I went through a lot for being a Christian teenager, and I just want to be able to share that with you guys, so that way maybe, if there is another Christian teenager who is in my shoes or, is going through the same thing that I went through, it can help them out, and they won't really have to, I guess, make some of the same mistakes that I made and things like that. So I'm just gonna tell you my story. So is masturbation a sin? Let's answer that question first. I do not think so. I believe that it is not, but I did not always think that way. So let me share what happened that led me to where I am now, because I was such a fundamentalist or something like that, and most Christian denominations think it's a sin. So basically, let's just start out with this. So I became a Christian when I was 13, and I was not really I didn't feel the need to masturbate or whatever until maybe a year after that or something. I don't know, something like that. But then that's when I started getting urges, really strong urges and stuff. So I looked it up or whatever. I was like, is masturbation a sin? Because I thought it was a sin. But then, I found everyone, no one really agrees with each other. A lot of them said it was, a lot of people said it wasn't. So I found this website that said it wasn't a sin, so I went off and did it. I was like it was just different. This is your first time and all this. This is really weird and really new. It was just weird. I don't want to talk about it or to think about it, but that happened. So then I just changed my mind, because some of the Christians who are it is a sin, they're telling me it's a sin. So I'm like, okay, it's a sin, and dang. And then I was trying to quit, and it took a couple months or whatever, but then I stopped. I completely stopped. That is amazing, because that's you're a teenager filled with hormones and you stop that. That is nearly impossible. So patting myself on the back, and but yeah, because I was 14, I stopped, and I didn't do it for 3 years or 2 years, but still, that's a long time. That is crazy. But anyway, so yeah, I believed it was a sin, and I went on just thinking that, and I was so happy that I didn't do it. But then basically what would happen was it would happen almost once a month, or once every other month. I would wake up in the middle of the night, and then I would be jerking off, kind of without it would happen. I'd be sleeping, and then I'd wake up and my hand was doing that, basically. And so I just, at the time, that scared me so much. I thought it was demons or the devil trying to get me or whatever, and so I was so scared. But then basically now I'm like, oh, it's just hormones probably. That's probably what it was, because if you're not doing it for so long, your body will make you do it, kind of, because that's just how the reproductive system kind of works. You can look into it if you want. I'm not a scientist or a doctor or anything. I'm not going into that. But basically that would happen once a month, and I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm falling into sin or something like that, even though I didn't have control over it. I thought that I had a demon in me. I was praying, I was fasting, I was crying. I was like, God, please don't let this happen to me. And so basically, as I got older, 15, age 16, it just happened more often. It went, and it got to a point where instead of it being once a month, it was once a week. And I was freaking out. I was dying inside. And then it came summer of 2016 or something. It was just, this is when the urges got so strong. So I couldn't even control it. I was fine throughout the day, but when you go to sleep, I don't know about you, but that's the hardest time for me or whatever when I was doing that. I just couldn't not do it. So, basically, well, no, I mean, I did. I was able to not do it because I went 2-3 years. But at this point, one night, I just fell into it, and I just willfully did it. And I was oh my gosh, I'm going to hell, or I need to repent. And I was so sad. So this went on. This was July 2016 when I fell into it. And so I was terrible. I was a mess. I was crying and fasting. I was trying to fast and get this demon out of me. Don't let this be. And so that's what happened. And so I was it happened a couple times in July, and then August I was oh my gosh, this is so bad. I need to stop. I'm probably going to hell. So I stopped, and then something happened. I was able to go almost a whole month of August without doing it, which is also amazing. But then after that, when it got to late September, this was an everyday battle. And I was in 11th grade that year or something, and so that was so much stuff going on with school, and then having to worry about this too every single night, and then you'd get in 11th grade, it's when the urges have been there since I was 13 or 14, and then it just gets killer when you're in 11th. For me, I was 16 and 17 in 11th grade. That's when the urges get killer. They are the worst ever. Like, they say that just, oh my gosh, like, they were so bad. It was impossible. I wanted to kill myself. Not really, but it was so bad. Like, there would be whole days where I was just thinking about sex because I was so, like, I guess the word is horny. I don't like using that word, but that's what it was. Because my hormones, you know? And so, like, I couldn't focus in class. I couldn't do anything. And I couldn't jerk it off because that was a sin. And, like, I had to focus on stuff. And I was praying. I was fasting. Don't tell me I wasn't doing anything. I was doing literally almost everything that I could. Okay? So that's what was going on. And then, of course, there'd be days where I wasn't worrying about it or whatever. But look, I could always control myself, except at night. And so I had the trouble. And it was, like, literally an almost everyday battle. It was, like, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. It happened. Like, I didn't go more than a whole week without doing it. And that's when I believed it was a sin. So I was like, my mental health was going down the toilet. I was crying. I was like so upset with myself. And just, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to hell. I got to my darkest point in like February. And then I was like, you know what? I don't want to have kids because like then my kids will have to go through this, you know, because the sexual urges are something that like we all have. And it's like in this society, you can't get married at 15 because that's just how it is. And it's like you can't get rid of those urges, you know, you have to do, it's just, it doesn't, like, I don't want to bring kids into this world if they have to live like that because I thought it was a sin. And so I'm like, I was just like, I don't want to have kids. I'm going to die alone. I don't want to get married. I hate my life. I hate everybody. That's exactly what I went through. Like from February, April, March, May, and then like it was in June or whatever. In June, I was still going through this struggle. I was like literally in my, not my darkest point. Come on. I was just in a dark place. Not the worst thing ever, but it was so bad. Okay. And so I was just like, it was just another night. I was just like having urges and I'm like, why did God make this? Does this happen for everybody? Because I just don't understand how this is not talked about more if there's so many people who claim to be Christian and go through this. Like, I was dying inside. Like, I was dying, okay? Like, I'm kind of exaggerating, but really though, it sucked looking back because now I'm like, I'm chill, I'm free, I can kind of do what I want. Like, it's not like something that's killing me. But looking back, I was like I was in a prison cell, kind of, you know? But yeah, so one night in June, I just looked it up and I found this website. I forgot what it was called, Biblical Gender Roles or something, and like it was just I didn't have such strong faith if literally one website page could kind of change my mind. But basically, it brought up this whole thing about like just it was kind of refreshing seeing like such strong Christians like on the website saying that it's okay like to do this and that basically God created men to where they need to release fluid, you know, those fluids like once every 3 days, and basically just that it's okay like to do it because it has benefits, it can relieve like just things like that, like it's natural, like God created this. Because if you want to go read the site, I will put the link in the description if you want to read what I'd read, but because I don't really remember, this was almost a year ago, but probably by the time this video is out, over a year ago. And so it was such a relief. Basically, I could totally relate to what they were saying because I was going through this for like almost a year. I couldn't do this. Like I was dying like every other night. Like I was either falling into it or like going through a really strong battle. And it was so difficult. Like I just couldn't believe, like, I was like, why would God do this to us, okay? Because, like, God will not give me, He will not give you, He will not give anybody something that they cannot handle, okay? And so I could not handle this. And so something wasn't adding up because I was doing almost everything. I was fasting, I was praying, I was being a good Christian, trying my best not to fall into this sin, and it was nearly impossible, you know? I couldn't do this. So basically, reading that website made me feel so happy and so much more relieved about it. And so, yeah, I kind of forgot where I'm going with this video, but basically, I just feel so much better knowing that, like, these urges and stuff, like, it's basically, these urges don't really go away. Like, they just stay there. And basically, if you can kind of, like, this is masturbation or jerking off. It's a great way to actually like, oh my gosh, I can just imagine my mom or my aunt or like somebody in my family, whether it's extended family, like they're coming on this video and they're like, hey, look at our nephew or our cousin, look at what he's up to. No, get off of this page, please. No, look, really though, this is something that a lot of Christians, I would like for them to know this, because the teen years, like, it's so bad with these urges. Like, I don't really remember, like, I'm sure they were pretty strong too at like 14, 13, and 15, but like, they got so so bad when I was 16, 17. Like, it is just not possible to handle them. I mean, if you can, great for you, but like literally, it's just, you know, like I just couldn't do it. And so basically, it's just, I'm like, there's no way that this is a sin, you know? Now, if you're worried about the lustful part, like for me, like literally, if you were as sexually starved as I was, like you aren't even lusting after anybody. You were just trying to like scratch the itch, if you know what I mean, because it was not letting me do anything else. And I prayed, I fasted, I did everything that would cast out demons. This is not a demon. This is just how God created us. And so let me say, all right, just to wrap it up, is masturbation a sin? The answer is no. And let me say like why, basically, because God will not give us something we can't handle. So yes, I just want to say, like, if almost everybody in this world has masturbated before, whether they believe it's a sin or not, they have. And the thing is that, you know, yeah, sure, everyone has sinned before, but the thing is that if you really wanted to, you could go the rest of your life not telling a lie, you know, or not doing certain things, like, because you can control that. Now, this is something that is, like, actually, like, it's a drive in our body, and it's meant for our survival, and it's a good thing, like, scientifically or even religiously, because, I mean, that's what creates kids and stuff. It's just, there is no, like, God would not do this to us. Like, he wouldn't make this a sin if it was not something that was in us. Like, you could compare it to drug addiction, you know, because they say that sex and masturbation is kind of like a drug addiction. Like, it has the same effects on your body and your brain and everything. And so the thing is that drug addiction, like, that's something that you put on yourself because you go out there and try the drugs. Like, no one and nothing is tempting you to try drugs. Everyone who has done drugs says it's so bad and you shouldn't do it and stuff. So that's something else. Now, of course, if you're in drug addiction, you know, I support you and I hope you can quit, you know, because it's not easy and it's not something that I should look down upon people for. But it's just that the reason why I would justify masturbation as an okay addiction, but not drug addiction, is that this comes from our body. This is how God made us, and it's something that, it's kind of like when you're hungry, you eat something, you know, like. It's just, it's one of those types of things. If you're thirsty, you drink water. If you need to sneeze, you sneeze. Yeah, I made a video about that. And that was a joke, but kind of for real. Also, another thing, there's no way that masturbation could be a sin. Or like, there's no way that you could go your life without masturbating unless like you could get married at like 14 or 15 or maybe 16 if you're one of the lucky ones or something who doesn't have a sex drive or something like that. But like, that's like the only way, because everyone is probably going to fall into it at some point because the urges are so strong. If they don't, then that's great. You know, I'm not saying that everyone will, but probably. And, you know, another thing is that not everyone is going to get married, okay? That's another thing. God doesn't call everyone to marriage, but he gave all of us a sex drive. And now, if the sex drive were manageable, sure, but no, this is something that literally controls you from like age 13 to what, like maybe 40, 50, so I don't even know, but they just say it's there for a long time because God wanted us to reproduce and have kids, but obviously he doesn't call everybody for that, and he doesn't make mistakes, and so also there isn't really anything in the Bible that says it's a sin. Also, another thing I want to say is like there were concerning the thing with like masturbation or whatever. Like another reason why like I'm like there's no way that this can be a sin is like going back to the thing like God won't give you more than what you can handle. So there were nights where I couldn't sleep and my stomach would hurt because I needed to jerk off like so badly. Oh my, this is so cringy, but like this video needs to be made because there are probably other teenagers who are Christians and have the same question, even if there's only like 5 of them or 2 of them. That's still good, and if this video helps you, then that's good. But like, there were nights where I couldn't sleep because the urge was like so strong. And so it's like, and those were like school nights and work nights when I had stuff to do and I couldn't just stay up all night. Like if I wanted to, if I didn't have anything to do, I could get up and go take a walk, you know, at midnight or whatever, because I couldn't fall asleep. And then, you know, I could keep walking until the urge goes away. I could do that if, you know, if it were a sin. But the thing is that I was a teenager. My mom is like, you know, don't leave the house ever, you know, especially at the middle of the night. Like, she would not let me go out. That's one thing. I don't think most parents would probably let their kids walk, you know, anywhere in the middle of the night. That's dangerous. Second of all, I have school the next day. I have work the next day or whatever. You know, we have things to do in this world. So, I mean, I don't really support the school systems and stuff. But like, that's just how it is. You know, you have a job. People have things that they need to be up for. And so it's like, God would not put us through this because like, it wasn't working. Anyway, sorry guys, I'm just going off because like this is just such a big deal and no one really talks about it, but it needs to be talked about. And yeah, so I hope that this video helped again. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you guys soon.
I love you, Jesus.